Talk about a deer in the headlights. Turns out we're live. Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Kate and I am the Corvette Concierge here at Tom Henry Chevrolet. We want to welcome you back for episode 2 of Garage Talk with Tom. Today we have a very special guest with us. Nicholas is joining us with his C8, which is right behind him here. One of the first C8s that we delivered out of our store. So we're excited to hear a little bit more about his experience with the car and what he's learned about the car so far. But I always like to give a few minutes at the beginning of this episode for everyone to jump on and join us. It's happy hour, so maybe pour yourself a drink as well and enjoy while we get started. But we did want to talk first about this stock car that we have as well. As you know, if you've been following along, we did paint a custom stripe on the front here. But we had some additional thoughts and wanted to get yours as well. So, Tom, what do you have put up here?
All right, so you know, if you watch my 2 cents on Facebook Monday mornings, I always have a clipboard, so that's my teleprompter, sorry. But, well, what we did here, so Nicholas, I'd like to hear your thoughts, but we painted a stripe on kind of like a 67 Corvette Stinger is what we had in the idea. The car comes with carbon flash accents, so we painted this one carbon flash. It works well on the torch red. But our question was, do you like 2 stripes like that with red down the center, or do you like it solid like that?
I personally like the 2 stripes, like it more of a racing stripe pattern.
I think it fits this car well with a 2-stripe piece. We also came up with a point that came above the emblem too. But all this is custom paint. This is done in candies and anything we can do through Tom Henry Racing painter. So this is show car paint. This isn't just off the shelf kind of stuff. Our thoughts are, if you get one of these, you want to put some paint on there instead of stripes, vinyl stripes. So if you're thinking about that, of course we can do anything, but that was our thoughts on that. I think it changes the look a little bit of the car. But
Drop a comment, whatever you think. We'd love to hear from you as far as if you like the 1 stripe or 2, or any other custom ideas that you would do to your car.
yeah, let us know on that. I'd love to hear that. So anyhow, I want to thank Nicholas for helping us out, and Kate did, but I had a couple of questions really. What originally got you into Corvettes?
Oh, there's actually a number of things that got me into the Corvette. So actually thinking back, my mother's favorite car was actually a 64 Corvette. That was something that she was a teenager that she never was ever able to have. But then when I was a kid, me and my brother always used to love Dodge Vipers, the Corvettes, racing, Vermont series, and so forth. And really since then, it's been something I've been looking forward to.
That's awesome. I did not know she liked the 64.
She did.
You have to send her a picture
She's
of
been
that.
done on mine, yeah. She might have to stop by.
Afterwards,
She might buy it.
yeah, it's not for sale, sorry. So one of the questions I had was the modes on the car. Of course, you know more than I do at this point, but what have you used so far? What are your favorites?
So at this point, I pretty much use all the modes. The one I probably use the least is weather mode. We'll see what happens when it gets towards the fall. But most of the time, actually engage in having it in Z mode, and then or on my mode, and those customizable modes that kind of tailor everything.
Okay. So how did you set Z mode up then?
So it's all through the settings. It's all integration within the infotainment system. You can basically customize both of the modes for whatever you want.
So I put this in track mode, and I really like that it flips the throttle when you're downshifting. It holds the gear longer. Of course, the shifting is amazing in this car, but that's the next story, actually, isn't it? I segue wrong. So, but at any rate, how is Z mode different from track mode?
So Z mode is, well, there's 2 different modes. It's more customizable overall, and then you can actually turn it on and off with the push of a button. So you can customize, like I said, you have pretty much track settings, but have the suspension in tour mode. That's most of the time what I do. Is pretty much race settings for as far as acceleration and so forth, but tour mode as far as suspension.
Right.
And you can turn it on and off, and if you want, and you can turn back on, and it goes right back to tour mode and be a little bit quiet if you want.
Okay, so I need to do Z mode then because I've been putting it in track track mode, and of course hitting a little bit of rough road or something, it's like, I probably shouldn't do this, but that sounds like the best of both worlds. One of the things I really noticed was the shifting that I talked about before, but it's just absolutely instantaneous. It's very different, and I love it. There's times you look down and you're 2 gears up from where you thought you were. You didn't even notice it. And it gets a little bit of a backfire or a burble or something when it shifts, which is really cool. Maybe part of that's track mode, I don't know. What's your thoughts on that? What have you noticed?
Well, as far as shifting, it's instantaneous. Like you said, it's less than 100 milliseconds, but it's pretty much as soon as you touch the shift, shift lever, it's there. It's already in the next gear.
Yeah.
I mentioned a lot of times before talking with you guys that it tends to live in basically first through sixth gear, and then really when you're in a highway, it'll be on seventh and eighth gear. But those first ones, it'll just click through flawlessly, and, before you even know it. Like you said, you're in fifth gear.
I didn't check actually, but I think first gear is very low. You're in and out pretty quick, but it also gives you quick acceleration right away from that deep gear. I mean, my old 02 Camaro with 410 gears in it, first gear is almost useless. You're at red line in a couple seconds, and you have to get out of it because it's a really deep first gear. But I do notice in the Corvette, it pulls right away with that.
Yeah, for example, like I said, my brother's into Dodge Vipers. He has an SRT 10. His first gear basically goes to 72 miles per hour. For this, 60 is like third gear.
Yeah, yeah. It's just snick, snick, snick. Yeah. I really like that. So, Kate, I think you had some questions.
Sure. Well, as you know, a Corvette is my daily driver as well. Mine doesn't quite matter so much now that the mid-engine is out, but I did want to get your thoughts on what it's like to have this as a daily driver. Are there any features that you are relying on with this as a daily driver? Has it seen rain yet? All those fun questions.
Well, as far as being a daily driver, you really can. Haven't seen it fall and so forth here yet, but all the features make it pretty much usable. Like I said, I have the Magna Ride on there as well, so it really helps with suspension, driving around town and city. The 2LT pack is probably the biggest feature that I'd say for if you plan on daily driving the car. And that has a couple things with it. It has with the parking assist feature, especially with the curved view camera, so you don't hit the front of the car. The rear view mirror is incredible. I love that as one of my favorite features.
Yeah, this car is hard to back up, but you need that.
It's very reliable to have that.
There's not really any use of turning around because you can see the engine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, your normal view in there is pretty limited. But then having a blind spot and so forth, it pretty much makes you able to do something. There's a lot of features that most other cars that you typically think of daily driver doesn't have.
I noticed the mirrors being offset and fairly big. It's a good rearview mirror on both sides, which helps, I think.
Yeah, the one thing about the rear mirror I really like is it's almost like a fisheye camera. So by the time when people are coming up to you on the outside, you already see them here. So you can see the whole path. So given now that it's mid-engine, looking around, you have a fairly wide blind spot area, but that pretty much eliminates it completely. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest feature with the 2LT pack.
Yeah, I think the 1LT guys might be worried about that after they see that.
For sure. I think another, not point of contention, but there's always two camps in the world of Corvette owners, putting miles on the car versus not, and does the car see rain versus not. So this is your daily driver. How many miles have you put on so far?
So it has nearly 1,000 miles on it right now. I've driven a fair amount. The only place I don't really do is when I go to work, I park to the garage. So a lot of times if I'm doing that overnight, I'll take a different car. Has seen some rain. I try to not be if it's downpouring and so forth, but usually it's not too bad. Just wash it once a week, and it's been working pretty well and comfortable.
Cool.
You gotta be careful where you park it though, because there is a lot of tension that comes from it.
I bet. How many times have you been stopped going to places
a lot of times. I've had actually people drive around Pittsburgh while they're driving, slamming on their brakes to take a look, and I'm afraid it's going to cause an accident.
Oh my God.
It's definitely a head turn as far as...
Yeah, gassing it up, it takes 10 minutes because people just come over to the car to see.
Yeah, I went a little bit on the thruway and I stopped at a rest station. Next thing you know, 8 people are out there. So
that's
awesome.
pretty good.
Yeah. I think it truck with another one delivered. There's people
Mhm.
U-turning, pulling off Route 8 to come and take a look. So you mentioned you're almost at 1,000 miles, so that means that you would have gone through that break-in period as well. What was that like going past that 500 mark and noticing all those differences?
Mostly just patience, I think, for a little while, right? Because it feels quick at baseline, but you not really want to go past 4,000 RPMs. And it's just kind of waiting. I would drive every day, so I kind of wanted to wait and see what would happen. But yeah, when you switch to the 500-mile mark, essentially the biggest thing you notice is the tachometer actually changes the red line, so it switches over right away. And then I think when you're in break-in mode, there's a reduced torque for the first couple of gears. So you definitely notice a little bit change with that.
Does it sound any different?
Well, when it downshifts, I think it notices a little bit different because I think it tends to have a little bit more power. So then when it's at a higher RPM, it's like baseline. So when it changes gear, you notice it just a little bit more.
Right. Obviously, I didn't get the break in yet. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, did you have any other final thoughts or anything you wanted to get from the end here?
Yeah, I have to get something actually. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts on what you want to talk about in the car or anything we missed there.
The only thing I would say, I just can't wait to see what this happens from here on out with Corvette. I mean, it's completely different shift, and already with everything else as far as performance goes and so forth, I can't imagine. It's pretty amazingly quick and drivable just at baseline. So
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the next couple of years as we start seeing Z06 and rumors of Zora and all this starting to come out. I mean, this is already such a groundbreaking car, but I think the sky's the limit at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to take over a lot of other cars that people were thinking of.
Yep.
Yeah. It's amazing the way it is, though. I'm happy under braking. I like the power, so I can't imagine this car with a lot more. So it's an amazing car, no doubt about it. So, Nicholas, I got this great gift for you. So when you come to the Bakerstown Garage, you get a Bakerstown Garage shock rag. All right, this is what you need because it doesn't leak oil. So, but you have to have a shock rag for the Bakerstown Garage. So as our visitors come here, that's it. Not as good as Jay Leno, but best I can come up with. So.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Okay. Someday we'll do a walkthrough on some of the stuff that's in here, but hopefully you'll like it. And every now and then we'll continue to do some Corvette stuff and see what we can do. So thanks for helping us with this episode. And,
Yeah, if you enjoyed the episode, comment, share it. We'll go back through, and if you have any questions, but you're watching this later on, feel free to drop your questions in the comments, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So thanks for joining.